All right, so this video is going to be I got a bunch of videos I want to make, but I've got to pretty much make the video on what's on my mind because otherwise I'll just forget about it and it ends up just going on my list and then I think of other videos, you know what I mean? So eventually I'll get to the ones on my list, but this is what's on my mind today. So I just I gotta say, I gotta be honest. There's things I could do to up my position in the algorithm and all that, but it's like, I don't I don't that's not my of course I want to make money. Everyone wants to make money. But what I really want is to do I try to go with the flow. You know what I mean? I don't want to be swimming up against the current and fighting with the algorithm and just doing the same video over and over just to get a billion views. That's boring to me. You know what I mean? So I'm in this shit for the long run. I'm not, this is a marathon. It ain't a sprint. So, anyways, now I stumbled into a video this morning about this dude. He's all depressed and he lost everything um, and he was saying how he thinks he should go see a doctor and he should probably be on medication, but his situation wasn't his fault. And so I tried to kind of convey that in the comment. I didn't want to write a novel, but I was saying basically, look, you're not the problem, dude. You're in a messed up society that's messing with your brain and messing with your situation. And you know, I never advise people when it comes to medication because I don't. You know yourself. If that's what you need, if that's what you feel you need, maybe that's what you should do. For me, it ain't for me. I want to function the way God made me, you know? So, um, it's, I don't feel that God makes mistakes. I don't feel that God, here's how people end up losing their minds. This is my theory. So, you got to realize that everyone is born fine, perfect. Everyone is born good, but this society that we live in, and people think, oh, you just blame everything on society. Blame what? I have nothing to complain about. I'm not blaming. I'm just calling shit how I see it. Society is we're in a messed up society, so people just project themselves like if, if you're looking for excuses for the position you're in, you're going to assume everyone else is. I'm not. I'm in the position I put myself in. I have no complaints. I have no regrets. And so you can stop with that stupid comment of, oh, he's blaming all his problems on society. I don't even have any real problems right now. Okay. So this, that somebody's got to call this shit out. The insanity that we live in. Somebody's got to call it out. And lots of people do. And, they got a lot of people brainwashed into thinking like, oh, they just don't want to work. They just want to blame society. Like, it's that's not the case, bro. I never had a problem working. I do got a problem wasting my time for a little bit of money and answering to silly people who shouldn't be in charge of anything. So that's why I live the way I lived. And believe me, I've made the same decision more than once where I turned down a high-paying, easy job because God didn't put me on this earth to just cling to some high-paying, easy job and do nothing with my life. God put me on this earth with some talents, and God wants me to use them. So that's what I try to do. So, people, I'm not blaming any of my problems on society. Whatever problems I have are the problems I choose to have. And that's the thing. You can choose a different set of problems anytime you want. But so you got to realize that this whole thing is set up to basically drive you nuts. And this is where people mess up. They let it drive them nuts, and they do things that are against their own character and against their own nature, and that's where people make mistakes. Now, how people kind of end up losing their mind is they've been going against their own nature and going against their own character and going against, God for so long that they don't know their ass from their elbow at this point. And it's not that they were just born that way. It's that they've been confused and tricked in a million different ways to here's the thing. Here's the definition of insanity. I think Einstein came up with it. It's repeating the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. And when I first heard that, I was thinking that doesn't sound like the definition of insanity. But as time went on and I thought about it, and I've met some people who I consider to be kind of insane, I realized that that definition is kind of real accurate. Oh, here's the mechanic right here. So now here's how it works. People, if you're doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome, that's just another way of saying you refuse to deal with what is actually happening, which is kind of an insane thing to do. Although it's not, it's a normal thing in our society. Lots of people do it, but the more you do it, the less you're going to really be able to function in a strategic and intelligent way. So basically the cure for insanity, in my opinion, is just try to find the truth. What's the truth? Not the not the truth that you want, but the truth that is there. That's the one that really matters. It's like, here's the thing. I'll give you an example. There's a lot of people on like Twitter and YouTube and Instagram and all over the place who they're pushing a political narrative. Like, for whatever reason, they've aligned themselves politically with either the left or the right. Um, I'll give you an example. There's this dude, Hassan Abi, I think his name is. I don't pay him much mind. I watched him argue with Andrew Tate one time, and I got to say, Andrew Tate kind of made an ass out of him. But, you know, here's what this guy does. Basically, he pushes the left narrative so hard, and the left narrative is way more important to him than the actual truth. So what he does is when things happen, he doesn't look at it objectively. He looks at it from how do I spin this to be advantageous to the political parties that I've aligned myself with. Now, in a lot of ways, he's ignoring reality and pushing a false reality. And I'm not saying that the right side of the political spectrum is pushing the truth. They're not either. They're pushing a different false narrative a lot of the times. So you got to realize I lean more right, but I am not like, I'm not loyal to the Republican Party. I can't stand them. They have no loyalty for me. So I don't push their narratives. I don't have any interest in that. I don't want to promote disharmony. I try not to. But so you gotta realize what this dude is doing. He's put every chance he gets. He's just pushing a political narrative instead of the truth. So what happens is, if you push a false reality long enough, you're not gonna know reality from false reality, and that is how you lose your mind. So people think they can just say and do whatever they want, and there's no price to pay. This is why you got a bunch of political figures doing a bunch of terrible things. They think there's no price to pay. There's always a price to pay. So the price you pay for pushing a false narrative your entire life is you kind of go nuts. You kind of lose touch with reality. So my advice is don't don't put no label on yourself. Oh, I'm a liberal. I'm a conservative. So now I'm going to push everything that the liberals or the conservatives push because that's what I am. And it's like people just let this label dictate who they are, and that's not who you are. You know what I'm saying? You're letting you chose a label, and you're choosing to let it dictate your personality, and that's a bad decision. I believe that leads to mental illness. So that's one of many things. So you know it repeating the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome, that is insanity. What's the cure? The truth is the cure. So the truth sets us free. You know what I'm saying? And that is a true saying. But so um yeah, I I'm trying to do what I can to lessen the mental illness out there. I want people to realize that you're not the problem, bro. They are the problem. And people are like, who's they? I'll tell you who they are. They are so smart that They control everything, and they have you convinced that they don't even exist. That's how smart they are. That's who they are. And they are very smart. They're a lot smarter than the average person you're going to see out on the street. That's not to say that they're smarter than everyone, because they're not. So, you know, you got to realize it's all set up. It's all set up to make you less intelligent, less, less self-reliant, and they don't want you to believe in yourself or believe in God. They want you to believe in the narrative that they created, which is not really reality. I mean, it's the reality that they created, but the things that they make you think are important are not important. They've got everyone bickering over a bunch of nonsense. And all the issues with our society are manufactured for a reason, because it keeps everyone disorganized. And you got to hand it to them. They're playing chess, we're playing checkers. You know what I mean? But you you got to realize that it it requires your consent. Now, they're getting a lot of people's consent without the people even realizing it. So, you know, what I'm trying to do is get people into the state of mind where they're not just unconsciously consenting to all this insanity. It's, you know, it starts with your thinking. You know what I mean? So you gotta see it for what it is. Now, you, people, who's they? It's not the politicians. They're a lot smarter than the politicians. The politicians and the celebrities and all the people who seem powerful in our societies, they're a bunch of puppets. They're a bunch of people who are too stupid to not let themselves be used as pawns in a game of chess. Now, in a game of chess, the pawns are thrown right out front. They're the first ones to take the hits. They're the first ones to take the damage. No one cares about them. Everyone just throws them out. They don't mean a whole lot. So, you know, a lot of people in our society are being used as pawns. But on top of that, all the big pieces, the rooks and the queens and the kings, they're all hidden. You don't even see them. And go on my Patreon if you want the details. But they're out there, and they're just smart enough to not be out there up front doing a bunch of dirt in public like these politicians do. I mean, the politicians, everyone sees through them at this point. You don't see, you rarely see people who are pushing, you know, who supports Biden at this point. There's really not many people. I don't see them anymore. A lot of people I used to see supporting Biden, they just don't even mention politics no more, and that's good. Good for them. Don't be loyal to these ridiculous politicians who they'd sell you for a hot dog. They don't care about you. Like, the people who seem like they're in control are the biggest goofballs. They're the most inept, the stupidest people, and this is why they're in that position, because they're the ones who are dumb enough to be used as pawns. And if shit pops off, they're going to be the first ones to go. They're just too dumb to realize it. The people controlling them don't respect them. They think they're clowns. They think they're fools. They give them a little bit of wealth, and they they don't consider them even on their team. You know what I'm saying? So the politicians and shit, they consider all them as us. It's they consider them as not their people but our people, who are betraying their own people, which is another thing that they don't respect about them. They would have more respect for these politicians if they refused to be used the way they're being used. But this is the world we live in. And you also got to realize that the people who really are in charge, they're not evil. It's complicated, but they're doing what they're doing for a reason, and it's not because of greed or fear of safety. These people are on another level, bro. They've been gathering wealth and power for thousands of years. Go on my Patreon if you want the details. But they're not scared, bro. They're not scared of rebellion. They're not scared of anything. They're not scared of death. They're not scared of poverty. None of that. They understand how things actually work. They're not scared, bro. They you can't threaten them with nothing. I'll put it to you that way. Um, it's it's a complicated thing. There's a whole structure of like a pyramid. With the top of the pyramid, you're never gonna see them. You're never gonna hear of them, unless you go on my Patreon. But so you know, it's it, it's it sounds crazy, but it's set up that way because they don't want you to know what's actually going on. Anyways, I'm hoping I'm making sense here. My main point in this video is to get people to stop. I'm mentally ill and I'm depressed. And no, you got to see it for what it is. You're not the problem. This setup is the problem, and you you can't let them let you take the blame for it. You got to realize that what you think and how you feel is what really matters, and your consent is a very important thing. It's called the law of free will. That's from the creator of all universes gave us the law of free will. Without the law of free will, nothing can exist. It's complicated, but so you don't answer to them. You answer to God. So don't be giving them your consent. Don't be sitting there all defeated and depressed. Work out. Um, do what's right. Stay true to yourself. Stay true to God, and you're indestructible in a lot of ways if you do that. So the people like, oh, you're just blaming society. No, I'm trying to look, here's the thing. When people are really genuinely happy and content, they don't spread negativity. They spread positivity. They want everyone to feel that way. I don't want people depressed. I don't want people defeated. There's some people that I know personally that I can't really deal with them. There's just some things got to be learned on your own. You know what I mean? So, but the people who listen to me, I'm hoping that I can help you guys realize that you're a lot more powerful than you realize. You know what I'm saying? So, I made a video about I think the video is called Chess, not Checkers. But there's this line in that movie Kingdom of Heaven, one of the greatest little scenes I've ever seen, when he meets up with King Baldwin, who King Baldwin was a great man. Uh, this is a Christian, and in our time we think, oh, the religions, they're all stupid and this and that. Look, God's people come in all religions, so you can't be judging people on that. But anyways, King Baldwin, real kings, they're willing to give up everything for their people. Anyways, so King Baldwin was telling him basically, like, they're talking about chess, and he's like, most people get moved around by other people and other circumstances. They're a piece in a game. What they don't realize is that they can move themselves, and once they realize that they can move themselves in the game, that's when their game begins. Other than that, they're in someone else's game and they're being moved around. So you got to realize that you can take control of the game anytime you want. You got to start moving yourself around instead of letting circumstances and people move you around. Now, chess is a great metaphor for war or life. It's like, one way to win a game of chess is by taking all the other material and then eventually you take the king. But that's kind of the dumb way to do it. The smart way to win in a game of chess is you give up material to get position. Once, ain't nobody going to turn down taking your queen. You know what I'm saying? They're going to give up whatever position it takes to take your queen, or a rook, even, or sometimes a bishop or a knight. So the smart people, the people who are really good at chess, they sacrifice pieces to gain position on the board because they know what actually matters is the king. All the other pieces do not matter. You can win a game of chess with a pawn and a king. That's all you need to win a game of chess. So when someone's really good at chess, you watch them play, you think they're losing because they keep giving up pieces. But what they're doing is they're jamming up the enemy position and getting him all discombobulated and stuck. And then once they start attacking, they just start taking everything, and they're unstoppable at that point because they've set the board up in a way to where you can't do nothing once they start attacking. So I've played. life in a lot of ways like I played chess. I gave up a whole lot of material to get position. What I want is options. I want the board open. So, um, I haven't played chess in a while. And the last few times, the last many times I was playing chess, I was just playing speed chess. I get, a long game of chess, I lose interest. I don't want to. Here's the thing. Yes, I can sit there and think 20 moves ahead for every piece. I just don't want to do that. I don't feel like doing that. And when I'm playing someone who is doing that, I just get annoyed and I lose interest. So I play speed chess, put a clock on the motherfucker, and now let's see how good he is with the pressure on him. Now, that's just how I like to play chess. It's more exciting. Um, You'd be amazed in New York. I knew lunatic homeless people who you would think they were complete morons. You get them on a chessboard and it's amazing. They're fucking good, man. Really good at chess. The best players in the world go to New York City, Washington Square Park, Union Square, and they lose to homeless lunatics, and they're always shocked by it, but I never am. And then there's other people on the street. They're not homeless lunatics. They're just really good at chess. Anyways, so if you ever really want to learn about chess, go to Washington Square Park, go to Union Square, look at the people at the boards, and I'd be willing to bet any of them is gonna smoke you in a game of chess. I don't care how good you are. These people, they're playing to eat, and they ain't gonna play you for free. The cheapest bet you're gonna get is a buck or two, and that's it. But other than that, you got to realize that this is what they do for a living. A lot of these guys, and they're not getting rich off it. And if you want to learn chess, they'll teach you too. But they're gonna charge you. But so if you really want to learn about chess, go there and watch it. You'll be amazed. People, you look at him and you're like, this guy's a moron. He's homeless and filthy and looks like a complete moron. But they're really good at chess a lot of the times. I remember thinking, I'm gonna kill this idiot, and then they beat me, and I get angry. But nowadays, it doesn't make me angry. It amuses me because I learned a lot, and I thought I was such a genius. It's a whole different ball game out there. Anyways, so um, but yeah, hopefully this video makes sense. But yeah, you gotta look. Life is a game. Stop taking it so seriously. Don't worry about. And here's the other beautiful thing about life: the game doesn't end when you lose your king. You can get a new king. You know what I'm saying? You can build back up. The game never ends until you decide not to play anymore, and then you're just defeated, and that's how you really lose in life. But as long as you still got some fight in you, and as long as you are still trying, you can't lose. That's the beautiful thing about life. In a game of chess, what happens at the end? There's hardly any pieces left, and really everyone loses because you look when two real good players play at chess, 9 times out of 10, by the end of that game, there's hardly any pieces on the board. They've slaughtered each other. They've torn each other apart. But they're both poor in material at that point, and this is a good metaphor for war. So, and then what happens? Whoever wins is sitting there with an empty board and no opponent, and they play a new game. It's like you got to realize that life it's a game of chess, really. And so I don't even remember how to play checkers because I haven't played it since I was like 10 years old. Probably I got into chess at a young age. So don't play checkers, man. Play chess. Think ahead. If you're gonna lose material, try to get position. If you're gonna lose position, try to get material. You know what I mean? But you also got to realize that there's other things at play, like how you feel, and just going out there ruthlessly taking all the material and being nasty and doing a bunch of terrible things. You're giving up a whole lot of position to do that. And if you give up enough position, they're going to be able to bully you. They're going to be able to push you around and take everything from you. So that, yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Here's the thing: a lot of mental illness comes from our own thoughts and actions. People do things against their own nature long enough and often enough to where they don't even they don't even know who they really are. So Listen to your conscience, listen to your heart, and do what's right. Don't just go out there trying to slaughter and take all the material, because that may seem like a winning strategy, but you'll see when all's said and done, a lot of those people, they don't end up in a good spot. So hopefully this video makes sense. I'm gonna watch it again, and I want to make sure I got some of my points across. Appreciate all the new subs. Appreciate all the new Patreons. I appreciate all the comments, the likes, the tips. I appreciate you. The Venmo, Cashapp, PayPal. It doesn't let me on PayPal. It doesn't let me respond to people, and it's not like people are sending me all this money. But every once in a while, someone will send me a tip, and I can't respond to it. But I want you to know I see it and I appreciate it. And I hope it comes back to you times 1,000, and it will. This is how things actually work. Anyways, so appreciate every single one of you. The new Patreon video is filmed, but I got to do stand up tonight. I don't think I'm gonna have time to put it up tonight. I'm gonna have to. I got yeah. I, I. It's gonna have to be tomorrow for the new Patreon video. Anyways, appreciate every single one of you, and hopefully this video makes sense. I feel like I was ranting and raving, but I'll see you on the next one. Everybody have a good one.